I work as an advocate with marginalised groups of people as a BME advocate for the past 12 years. But for some people, needs are very different. So what may be important to one person isn't as important to another person. So when I'm working with ethnic minorities, if they don't have any status living in the UK, that may be their paramount need, making sure that they have somewhere of safety to live, not be in a country where they're going to be exploited, knowing that any day now immigration could come and remove them. So that can take a higher ground with them, because that is what's on their mind all the time, and they can't focus on basic day-to-day needs like taking their medication, going and seeing the doctor, speaking to other health professionals. Their priorities shift. So it's important through personalisation that we're all able to understand what's important to that person and what support can be offered based on their importance, rather than what we feel, our professionals feel, is important. So as advocates, we always try to listen to the person, what they're saying, and repeat back in their words of their wishes and views, rather than listening to other people and what they think is important or what they think will help that person.
I'm naturally quite an assertive person. I've worked in the voluntary sector in housing and mental health since about 1991, so I'm normally fairly assertive, and I often get my own way. I get things that I think are needed. However, in my personal life, I often go through times when I become unwell. I've got a diagnosed mental health problem. I've been in hospital several times, and I've been detained under the Mental Health Act. When I'm in that sort of place in my life, all my lived experience of assertiveness, advocacy and advice work seems to vanish, and I often find it really hard to actually articulate or get what I need. So now I'm actually working as a community advocate. I work with people, advocacy partners who actually live in the community. They haven't got any inherent right in legislation to advocacy. It is a very big gap in service provision that some people haven't got a legal right to advocacy. I'm working with one partner who, when I first met her, the first issue she wanted to discuss was actually accommodation. It was the most pressing thing on her mind. And we talked about it, and we talked about the various options, and she wanted to move somewhere more independent. And she talked to a social worker about getting somewhere else to live, and the social worker kept on advising my advocacy partner that she should wait 6 months. And this was frustrating my partner, because she felt that she wasn't being listened to again, that she wanted somewhere else to live. She wanted a flat of her own without very heavy support and supervision, where she could live with her partner and basically go on with her life. The best way forward was to actually put in an application for housing through the local authority. The issue for me was that application had been put in 5 months previous, in October. Then she would be further along the list, and it would be closer to the time when the social worker was actually talking as part of her plan and strategy for this young woman to move on, or for the advocacy partner to move on. So in some ways, me coming on board as an advocacy partner was useful, but it could have been done a lot earlier, the housing application.
I definitely think advocacy helps, because from my experience, I have friends with disabilities and I have disabilities myself, and there are so many people that don't get their voices heard and therefore don't get the care they need, don't get understood by the system, and there is so much that they're missing out on because of this. One of my cases that worked very well recently was a young man who was having some issues with his employment. We made a plan together, really. so that he could carry on with his work. And I actually managed to get him to a place where he was communicating with his employers, and he could potentially have lost his job, but he didn't. He got that job back because me as an advocate went in and said, look, this isn't on, these are the things you need to be doing. And now, as far as I know, he's doing amazingly well. I think I'm in a good situation because I am a service user and an advocate, so I do see the situation from both sides. I know what it's like to be a service user with a frustration, but I also know what it's like to be an advocate working in the system, so I think I'm in a valuable but also vulnerable position. I think advocacy is really good. It gives people a voice, and sometimes that's what people need. I've worked with people who are going through similar, and I know that I've changed their lives as a result of making them feel heard. So yeah, I think it's really beneficial.